Welcome back to episode 11 of my deep dive into Heaven's Vault. We are going to keep exploring this moon that we found deep in Ghost's Wake. We spent the last episode doing nothing but translations, which was fine because I like doing translations and Lonely Things alone. We also learned how far we can stretch the game, and it's not quite as far as you might think. They didn't create an unlimited amount of writing content. That's fine, though. So we got some stuff going on here. We'll just fill these in real quick and get on with the show. This is sail. There we are. And then we've only got this one there. That's a time-related word. Let's go ahead and see what sort of time-related word it is. Oh, I got here wrong. So if this is a time-related word, then it makes sense for it to be any one of these except for wish. Sail again. This is and this is time, so it makes sense if it's again. I will sail again, or I shall not sail again. I don't see any signs of a not here, so we're going to go with will. I don't think that was right, though. It's amazing how I've forgotten so much of this. I'm going through it at a much different pace the second time. So now we're getting into the death mechanics or the injury mechanics of this game, which are pretty tame. But basically you have a health bar and certain things can lower it. Fortunately, we're not losing health. We just...
The wind was strong up here. It wanted to grab you by the waist and chuck you down the cliff.
Yeah, so fortunately it's not killing us just being up here. It just took some time for us to get up here, some health for us to get up here. It's a good way to indicate things without actually stressing us. They're really pushing us to learn the health mechanic, but basically the idea here is that we were just zapped by it. You might remember that we had a worker that got their arm broke back on our homeworld because they touched something. Seems pretty obvious that that's happening here as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and take a little bit of a look around and see what it has to say. Let's plate the metal hoop on top, see whether that helps. And then let's see whether we can play back that Rebesque foil. Earlier we learned that the engravings seemed like the engravings of a child. Oh. So it looks like we got a big shot here. So we've learned about the Withering Palace now, and we've known enough to track it down. And there he goes. So the Rebesque foil appears to contain some kind of ancient hotshot's brain. And, if the observatory is going to open for him when it's time, then guess what? We're going to carry him around until it's time. I don't want to touch the marker. I want to take back the hoop. Hoop, hoop, hoop. There we are. We know what it is, but okay. It's the part of a robot that makes their brains. So basically this was a plinth that had some electricity left on it, and we used that up to broadcast some kind of ancient child emperor, maybe? We'll find out. Oh well, what a shame. That's fine. We know enough now. We know where the Withering Palace is, and we can go there and search for more clues. So one of the things to remember when you're creating this kind of game is that if there is an environmental effect, like a icy cold wind, you're going to want to actually add in some kind of particle effect or something so that we'll be able to see that happen. Because as it stands, it's hard for me to tell that we're supposed to be uncomfortable, except for the fact that she walks... I don't even know how that's supposed to be. Like she hit her head really, really hard. How did you get across? Well, welcome, welcome. How did you know about the metal hoop? How did you know about the location of the Withering Palace? So the reason that... so don't hassle me normally means that there's nothing left to find. We'll know for sure pretty soon. But the reason he knows about those things is because his primary role is to remind you of what you've found and keep track of where you can go. So because of that, he has to know about things that he's not supposed to know about, which is why this game doesn't do any of the deep context stuff that I've been talking about, where we could keep things... We have a machete. Pull out the machete. Oh well, whatever. So they hid a recording of a child's brain inside of the inside of the figurine that was keeping him company. Oh, okay, so that was a girl, not a guy. That's fine. Stuck? Didn't I go through there just a couple of seconds before? Maybe I'm thinking of a different door. Interesting. That's odd. Maybe it's closed that path off since I went down this one. I don't want to go back to the ship. I want to jump it. That's interesting. So they didn't want us going both locations. We're definitely taking at least a partially different path than the first time I played. Normally speaking, I've never seen that before, where it closes off a door and you're not allowed to go to the other location after you've gone to the first one. Yeah, if only somebody had, like, a ship. So I'm just looking through to see what's on the other side. This looks like a greenhouse on the far side. It's a shame that we're not going to get to explore it. So we could come back down and try again. I'm not going to, though. I think I'll respect the wishes of the devs and only do one of the two things. Still, that was a fun way to start the episode. Let's continue the episode by wandering over to another location. We could go back to Elbereth and try and pick up the crown, But we could also let the crown rot for a while. We have a new place to go. But here's the thing. What does that crown do? It's a machine, right? It's got something inside of it. So what do you think? Maybe that crown is the same thing as the hoop we picked up. Maybe. Is that what we were thinking of when we said we'd already seen something like that? But if you take a look at the robot, if I can get the hoop there, you can see the hoop is what's connecting his arms to his spine. So it's the same sort of thing that's on the robot. And I don't think we picked up anything that we can click on. No. So we'll just move on. There's a couple of options. We could go... Oh, we're receiving a message. Miari. On screen. So she's got her funeral happening, and she wants us to attend the funeral of her buddy who we found dead. We could go back to Iox, but we have an open invitation to a lot of other locations. What I'm going to actually do right now is hop on over to Windows and make a backup copy of our save file, which saved 30 seconds ago. Make that episode 11 and a half. All right, and now we can do whatever we want, and I can always fall back if necessary. So we got a couple of options. Renaki, if we want to try and track down the observatory. Elbreth, if we want to grab the crown. Iox, if we want to attend a funeral. That seems kind of distracting. Or the Withering Palace, if we want to actually get stuff done. We are a lonely person wandering alone. Obviously, we're going to take the lonely person route. There are lots of things we can learn at this point by going to any of those destinations. The question is how much it matters. And what I'm trying to do is push one element of the story ridiculously fast while letting the others hang. Which is fun, but you're not going to get the full experience if you push too hard like that, right? Well, I guess it depends. Oh, curses. That was a really fast turn. So now the robot is inquiring about all the secrets we're keeping. And obviously we're going to keep keeping secrets. The robot can't be trusted. It works for both Miari and her enemy, Renba, so that's kind of a strange thing. I don't think we want to rely on that robot. But maybe I'll do a playthrough where we are very relying on the robot and try and become buddies with it. Who knows? There's lots of ways to try and play through this game, and I don't know how flexible everything is. My guess is it's substantially less flexible than you might think, because the whole point of it is to create the illusion of flexibility, so the player feels like they're getting things done in their own way, even if they're not. We can talk more about that in the final episode, where we'll summarize how to use context engines. But for now, keep in mind that when I say that the game isn't as flexible as it appears, that's actually a compliment.
No one knows how far the rivers go. No one's ever mapped them. Not even the robots. Or, if they did, they aren't telling.
So, and when I say that it's less flexible than it seems, that's a compliment, because it means that they've stretched the content they created to the point where it is a very, very convincing experience. Now we're back in Ghost's Wake. This time we're just passing by. But let's grab ourselves a little bit of a ruin. There are, I think, 4 ruins in Ghost's Wake. We've gotten 2 of them now. I got one of them in episode 10 and a half or whatever. The one that I probably didn't upload. So here we've got a bunch of godlike stuff. Let's go ahead and put some god into their life. Here's some heart. And then here is some you. Oh, come on, I missed it. You. Oh, you. And then here's some I. And there's some more I. And then here is some thans. Like, yeah. Does that seem like good? None of these seem like good places for... This isn't I. This is our. I'm sorry, spoilers. This one's our. Or my, rather. And then this is... What do we want this to be? It's very similar to Emperor. So it might be love. I love you, my heart. I love you with all my heart. I gave you my heart. It certainly does. All right. So that seems... We're narrowing down the destination of these elements, and we're learning that Tappy has some things we can trade for. So one of the things to keep in mind is that all of these are becoming smaller and smaller and smaller as we narrow down our search parameters. Now the narrowing down is done via a metagame fiction. None of the objects we have are pointing to the destination with things that they actually say or represent. It's not like we look at it and we say, oh, it says go here, or oh, it has these Minoan markings on it. Instead, it's just magic, but that's fine because that's the purpose of the robot. The purpose of the robot is to make that metafiction feel tangible. So the robot scans it and finds out that it's, some specific place. And it's just a handy way to allow us to pick up random crap, randomized garbage. And it will lead us to the next plot point, regardless of what randomized garbage we pick up. It's a very simple trick and extremely useful one. Well, it looks like we got another site coming up on the left here. No inscription, but you know what it is? It's jewelry! That's what I've been waiting for. So after this next moon, we can always go back to Elbereth and do a lot of things all at once. But we're probably going to want to, if we plan to ever go back to Iox, we're going to want to do that before we go to Elbereth, unless we like the idea of losing the crown. Because maybe Miari will take it from us. So if we take a look at the map, you can see that we have options going either right or left. Sometimes if you look at the map, you can kind of get an estimate for where there might be more artifacts. See, now he's explaining what I explained. Is the magic that allows him to... Stop talking! I've got things I want to do. There we are. Sometimes it feels like you drive past it, but I've never actually missed one. So I missed that turn specifically because I wanted to get this toy. So we got our free toy. Let's go ahead and do some translations and then get back on the road. Look at all of those time sigils. So let's go ahead and pull out some joyous little bits. Here's some will. Here's some and or againning. Here's some again. So probably I will rise again, or we will rise again. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Emperors will rise again, something like that. Rebel, that doesn't seem right. Blow again. Winds will blow again, probably. People will blow again, probably not blow. Let's see here. Got empires, which would be goddess land, so temples. temples will open again. Yeah. Let's try it. So the idea being that if it's a loop, the time is a loop, then of course the temples will open again. Now we have to actually do a loop ourselves to get back on track. We can't use the auto rewind once we've visited something, but that's okay. It's not much of a travel. Just a little bit more of this peaceful sailing. And what we'll do is we'll stop this episode once we reach the destination, and we'll start the next episode up there. I keep opening these episodes with "Welcome to episode blah blah blah," but to be honest, I'm really bad at keeping track, so it might not actually be episode whatever I say it is. But I think this is episode 11, and the next one's going to be episode 6. Oh, I don't want to pass control to 6. The next one's going to be episode 12. So I know why it wants me to pass control to 6, because I'm just kind of farting around. But I'm farting around with I'm a man on a mission here. My farting around is going places. Why are you talking about that? Just casually dropping that into conversation. That's how I know that the context engine doesn't really support the level of detail that I'd like to see in other genres. Look, another toy. Toy, 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 toy. Gosh, that feels like you're going past it. Oh, hooray, a map. Nice. All right, so there's some bee. I see a bee. This is not myself. This might be ourselves. Temple. Yeah, that seems right. So, excuse me, just burp straight into the mic there for you. This doesn't seem right. You know what? Let's take that out. I'm sure it's not right. All right, we got temple right. So we're going to head back and fix this up. So as you can see, this is me with a little thing here. And I thought that would make it mine. But mine is not an option. But this is. And when you think about it, this and me are very, very close together. This is path towards temple. There's the X. There's the water. Ice. Or knowledge. Or the Empire, I guess. But this is rivers. And this is not rivers. Not flowing. See that? So we're going to go ahead and say that that's ice. A very profitable excursion, figuring out all of these locations on the way towards where we're going. It's very handy. Yoink. So we can talk about the difference between how you discover sites in this game and how you discover sites in some other games that do similar things, but I think that probably deserves its own video and is quite separate from the experience of what we're doing right now. Oh, I can't see. Well, it certainly seems like ice was the right call, doesn't it? We've got a lot of ice here. Wah! Wah! Sploosh. Well, let's see if we can find the orangery. I could really use some oranges before I get scurvy. So now we've got to track down the Withering Palace. And I don't think it's going to be quite as hard as it was to track down the Ghost Temple. because the ghost temple was this entire zone, whereas over here we've only got really 2 things to explore, and as you can see, it doesn't really matter which path we take to get there. So while this is an exploration challenge, it's not going to be on the same order as the previous set. So when the river is slow to a crawl like this, at some point she'll ask Six why they do that. And Six never knows, but they only go through it once, so you don't have to see it over and over again. Shoo. So we've got another little thing in the stream here. This should tell us a little... Oh, I wanted to talk to. Oh, there's too many things to do at once. All right, so we got another random piece of loot. Let's see where it takes us. Well, clearly it takes us on quite a ride. So let's pop some stuff in. There's a river, and we can travel on that. We got some of this yore happening here. Yore, hunter of the future. And then we've got some wind. No, it's not wind. It's on. And this is sail. Where's our sail? Why don't I have the option to put the sail in? Well, let's go ahead and put in what we can put in, I guess. Boop. What am I missing? Way. Oh, there is a way there. You're right. It doesn't seem right then. Is that really going to be on? That doesn't... No, there's something wrong here. Is this... There we are. Alright, so here we've got a lot of fun stuff. See, this is happy, but maybe not. Who knows what it is, right? So we've got a lot of stuff going on here, and it's probably not happy since none of these words are very happy. Let's go ahead and see what the others are here. Your way in ahead rivers or along rivers. There we are. So find your way along rivers. So this doesn't have nearly the complexity of this doesn't have nearly the complexity of the Ghost's loops systems. So we should be able to find it pretty quick. It just is a quick little vector. Has now placed us outside of the search zone. We're back within the search zone. Very clever of you. It looks like they accidentally clipped the search zone a little tight. That's fine. I really like this kind of three-dimensional motion because it does make it a little hard to tell where you're headed, which is fine. That's the point. But it's still quite simple. You won't feel terribly lost. Just lost enough. So we could go left or we could go right. I think I went left, which was not the brightest idea. I should have gone right. Oh no, it's too late. Oh well. We'll get there eventually. No. There's more junk. Let's grab it, and then we should arrive at the palace. So is that on the left? Oh, wow. I got that one from a long way away. There we are. So now we're going to probably get another translation game. Now I'm playing this game in a very lonely way, where I am preferring to do all of this lonely work. It's quite a bit... It's very, very possible to play this game in a much more social way, which we may go back and do as a separate adventure to see how far it changes things. That would be fun. So there we are. All right, so save yourself in these waters. Let's go ahead and take a look. Cup, wait, place, or stand. In this place, I want to say cup, but I don't think that's true. Save yourself in this place. Drown yourself in this place. I'm not sure. Now, if you look at the actual layout, you can see that although it looks like it's all twisty, there's not actually any choices to be made here. All we can really do is follow along, hit this point, then hit this point, and then we're automatically en route. Whether we turned right or left at the last location, we would have ended up having access to the same resultant area, just due to the way that all rivers flow. In order to go the wrong way, we would have had to return and take lefts repeatedly. So it's not really possible to miss this location. It's just possible to accidentally delay finding it by a couple of minutes. Well, what we're going to do is start the next episode up right now, because I think we're on our way and we don't want to get there this episode.